How's it going, everybody? We are back for another Shoptalk edition of the Ad Podcast here in Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. We have Sarah Engel, the president of January Digital, also a board member emeritus of Shoptalk. Sarah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do as a board member, and would love to hear more about your agency as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. No, thanks for having me. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've spent part of my career on the brand side, part in retail tech and in agencies. So I keep saying 50-50, but then I get older, so maybe it's like 70-30. I don't know. I'm the president at January Digital. We are the digital agency of record for a lot of amazing brands like Carhartt and Kendra Scott and Steve Madden and Interstate Batteries and Sakara, a lot of really amazing brands. And then we also serve as digital consultants for a lot of clients that need kind of deeper integration, deeper help, just reaching all of their digital goals. And
Nice.
So, do that with
Would you consider you guys a shopper agency or more of a full service digital
digital
AOR?
agency, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then tell us how you got involved with Shoptalk.
Gosh, I have been involved for a long time. I was trying to think, 6 years, however long it's been around. I think I've been to almost everyone.
Wow.
And when they first did their advisory board, I gladly accepted and was part of that original advisory board. Then COVID hit, and then we decided we're going to keep this group together. So it was originally a 2-year assignment, and it ended up being a 4-year assignment. And it was just such a great group. And the interesting thing was not only were we helping Shoptalk navigate that challenging time for retail, we were helping each other, right? Like we're all going through the same things, and it was really a special group. We're all still very friendly. And then when that rolled off, brought the new board on, I got a chance to welcome them and kind of help guide them a little bit. And then, I help a lot with content now, speak usually at the shows, but also just like, what are people talking about? What are people challenged with? So it's just such a dynamic environment, and the Shoptalk team has been so committed to like having real conversations on stage that I think that's the piece that I feel really strongly about, like having a diverse group of speakers with interesting ideas who are willing to tell the truth up there. Like I feel really strongly about that, and so do they.
Yeah, so many conferences are like, what can PR let us say? What are the, what are the like shiny wrapped up case study presentations? But, that's not really why people come to these things. They come to build relationships, but they want to hear like real stories, real challenges.
And those are always the strongest sessions, right? Totally. When somebody says, I tried this and it didn't work and we overcame that. Yesterday morning, I had a great session with Jamie, the CEO of American Girl, and Gio, who heads up all of the retail hospitality for Coach. And Jamie was willing to be like, this didn't work, and this is what I tried. And Gio was so authentic. Like those are the conversations that people learn from. Like it can't always be a win. And when you learn something from that and are willing to share that with the audience, it really helps them avoid the same pitfalls.
I love it. So having been on the content design side and really knowing like everything leading into Shoptalk, what would you say are 2 or the 3 main themes this year that people are talking about?
It's interesting. We're still talking about unified commerce or omnichannel or whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their terminology at Shoptalk. We tend to say unified commerce. It is still a conversation, but it has shifted quite a bit of like, what does that really mean? It's not like, a couple years ago it meant like, we're going to remove our silos and we're not going to have e-com versus stores versus wholesale. Yeah. Now it's like, any possible way that the customer wants to interact with you at any given time on your site, off your site, social commerce, it's a very different discussion. It's evolved into a much bigger discussion. So yes, it is still the discussion, but it's like a completely evolved situation now. So I think unified commerce is still a big point of conversation. AI is a big point of conversation, but in a different way than even the fall Shoptalk show or last year at this time.
Yeah, like CES, you couldn't go to a panel that wasn't about AI.
Right, it became a joke. People are like, well, we have to say AI,
Yeah, we're here at the AI, Consumer Electronics AI show.
Right. Yeah. And so I think what I love about it has shifted into a to what end? What problem are we solving? How is this going to help us along? How are we looking at the ability to leverage generative AI to just have a better impact to our customers? Like, clearly there's some of the elements that are back end and supply chain related, and those are really interesting as well. But I am seeing people start to shift that conversation to, it's not innovation for the sake of innovation. It's innovation to solve a specific problem, to advance in a certain way, to cut down on expenses in a certain way. And so I think this has been a much deeper conversation. We still have a ways to go. I mean, there's still a lot of I walk through the exhibit hall and I know all of these companies, and they all have the word AI in their title now. Like, they've changed their names to whatever AI.
AI is almost a mark. Like, I feel like AI is definitely not like a hype cycle like NFTs or metaverse or crypto. It feels like it's lasting, but it still has hypey elements.
Of course, and so everybody wants to know that, whether it's an investor of these tech companies or whether it's a customer, they want to know that they're on the cutting edge of AI, and so everybody's kind of added it into their pitch. That said, I am glad to see it, take on something different. Like, if you're gonna, go down this path of agentic AI, what is this agent doing for you? How is it bringing things along? How is it moving your business forward? How is it impacting your customers or your staff? And so I think it is a more evolved conversation, but I would say I genuinely think that will be another 12 to 18 months before you have a lot of like real case studies to use. Certainly people are doing some amazing things right now, but it's like the question is always, and how do I measure that? And was it successful? And so I'm starting to see those examples come out, but I think we'll see a lot more in the next year.
As an agency leader, what is the most impactful thing that AI is doing, like within the four walls?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. It is removing a lot of mundane tasks.
Yeah, I love that.
mean, right? It's like, and there's some range of automation to AI focused, but it is removing things that people don't go into marketing because they want to, do reporting every day, right? Or right?
Reporting is
whatever those things are, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we look at that and go, how can we create a situation and use AI to enable human beings to do what they're great at, to tap into the creativity, to build stronger relationships with clients, to be in a conversation with a client about the strategy and be able to dig in and have that brain space and that time to do that, versus things that are easily replicable that could be done by AI. So like I see more of it there. We are seeing more of it with creative. I think there's a lot of hope and excitement around that. We see our clients seeing some success from a merchandising standpoint with AI. But in terms of our team, we were just looking at some numbers this morning. It is significantly reducing some of the hours on reporting and on some of the more mundane tasks.
Are you guys using it for RFPs or pitch processes yet? I feel like that's an interesting way to fight back against the procurement, let's just put people in review, or clients put agencies through such a grueling gauntlet sometimes to win business that almost feels nice to have a superpower to lighten the load a little bit.
It is a good question. I think because we've been able to train our own, it's funny, you're training it off your own answers.
Yeah, right.
That literally, likely our founder or I or one of us has written over the last few years over hours. It's very important to us, and we're very relationship-oriented, new business people. We don't have a salesperson. It's us, and we're having real conversations. And so we've written every word of it. So to be able to then train the machine to be able to use our answers and the way that we think about things, the way we talk, it certainly is speeding things up. It's not a finished product by any means, but it certainly helps speed things up, or because otherwise it's one of us being like, didn't this question come up before? Where was that? So I'd say it's working. It's helping more in that way.
It's good for building the archive in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like surfacing things that are maybe some people have even forgotten about. I love that. So not to ask you to play favorites, but any content so far that you've seen that really stood out that you were really excited about? Or
oh gosh, I'm so biased because my speakers were great. Just kidding. It's funny. I was like I said, that session yesterday was great, but we followed Foot Locker, who was fantastic. They gave great examples. What they're doing in store is really fascinating, and it's funny because I clearly am a part of a digital agency and also have such a deep love for retail and retail stores and the way in which store associates and managers can translate what the data says. I'm a strong believer in that. And so I think a lot of that it wasn't just our session, it wasn't just Foot Locker, it's touching everywhere. And you'll love to hear that. I'm trying to think of what else. Reformation was interesting yesterday. There have been some really great sessions. I feel like Pandora was fun this morning. I'm not sure how new she is as a CMO. My understanding is she's newer, but it was really good to hear just the way she thinks about it and the way that they're kind of tapping into some people's emotions. KK from Kendra Scott was fantastic. Just really gave some great examples, which I love seeing. So we've had some great content so far.
I love it. So you talked a little bit about the omni channel presence and kind of the reinvention of retail. I saw an interesting thing where an Audi dealership put in a store in a mall recently, the same way that like Tesla dealers have. Brands really thinking about retail as not a place to, store products and ship them, but to have like a brand experience and almost a touch point inside of culturally relevant places, high foot trafficked areas. Feels like retail from a brick and mortar perspective is not only having a renovation, but also kind of a renaissance. Any interesting examples that you've seen?
I mean,
in
it's
the
so
real
funny
world?
because I live right by King of Prussia Mall, which is usually
nice.
a test mall for
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And so I feel
Great.
like we get it all.
that's so good.
I love seeing it used as a new and third space. So some of the interactive exhibits and some of the fitness that has come into those.
What was one that I saw the other day? Like it was a branded Pilates studio or something like that.
And so like I see some of those elements as really exciting. I also just see that many brands are embracing the fact that, especially our younger generation, our Alpha and Gen Z, they are going to the mall again. And it's like, I know people, everybody's shocked, but my kids go to the mall.
And that's like what they want to do now.
That's
it's
right.
Like, and,
that's
you
right.
know, and then not to mention they're dressed like 90s kids again, which is crazy to me
I'm
and my
here
wife.
for it.
But it's like, wow, baggy jeans.
there was a kid who walked in my house the other day, one of my kids' friends, and I was like, that is like straight up 90s skater. It was awesome. I was like, that's great. Anyway, so I am seeing, as that group really enjoys, going to the mall, a lot of the brands are really embracing the linger time. Like they want, and I even see, Gio talked about it yesterday at Coach, that they are measuring that as success, how long they stay in the store, in the same way that you would measure how long somebody's on your site.
Yeah,
like
right
they're
when
measuring.
Starbucks almost kicked the people who are like linger around and use it for an office out and then quickly retreated.
Which is me half the time. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, hey, it's convenient for that, right?
So like that has been pretty exciting to see. The embracing of in the past you think about all these mall stories and they're like, oh, these kids are lingering, and I'm like,
there were movies made about being mall rats, right?
The mall rats, right? And now I think that a lot of brands are realizing that linger time and that community space and that creating that kind of third space is really important. Whether it's a cafe or whether it's I've seen even a half pipe inside a store. Not at King of Prussia, but it's actually overseas. But I see those types of situations, and I'm like, that's interesting, and they're embracing what is special about how this generation wants to connect, because so much of that has happened in gaming, in Snapchat. Like so much of their connection has been, especially through COVID, has been digital, that they want to connect in a physical way, and the brands that are really embracing that, like that's what I see as something really special right now. So
I love that. Well, great insight.
I don't know
Sarah.
if that answers your question,
no,
but
totally,
that's what comes to mind.
So if people want to learn more, connect with you, what's the way to get to know more, get in touch?
We would of course love them to come to januarydigital.com. LinkedIn is always great, either January Digital or Sarah Engel, Engel. Reach out and touch base. And we'd always just love to talk through what people are challenged with. That's funny, that is a lot of what I do, is talk with, whether it's CDO, CEO, founder, whomever, about what they're challenged with, and you would be shocked. So many people are having the same challenges. And just bringing it right back to Shoptalk, having everybody in the same place, being able to say, I'm also trying to figure that out, or I tried that this way and it worked better, that is a lot of what I do every day, but it also is what a community like this, if you really are invested in it, kind of gives back to you.
Nice to be able to do it at scale, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on and saying hi.
I'm so glad to meet you. Thanks for having me.
You too. Cheers.